Hey guys, Buffalo Prime here, and I am bringing you on channel number 2 a Dynasty run because I play College Football 25 a bunch, and I love the game, and we're going to do a Heisman program rebuild all the way from the ground up. I'm a big stats nerd. It's actually what I do for my regular career, and I really want to dive in and try to make this as realistic as possible. So with that in mind, we're going to go to Dynasty settings, and we're actually going to use some sliders from a Reddit post. I'm going to put that in the description of this video. Just a heads up, this entire first video is just going to be setting up and getting to know our team. Week 1 of the actual season we'll play on a separate video, so you can always refer back to this video to see what settings I'm using and things like that. So we are going to play on Heisman. We can be fired. Coach XP is going to be normal. Injuries are going to be on. Wear and tear is on. Quarter length. Now let's take a look. They're saying 12-minute with 13-second runoff. I actually like that. So we're going to do 12-minute quarters with an accelerated clock, minimum clock time of 13 seconds. Season experience is going to be full. Manual league. No auto on anything else. This is fine. We're going to double check to make sure those settings save. We are not going to do custom conferences because that actually messes up CFB.
It's now time to select
pretty heavily.
your team.
I hate that they do this. Okay, I would normally do Western because I am a Western Michigan alumni, but I have a feeling that if I got Western into a title contention, it would make the MAC really boring. So we are going to go to a Power 4 school, specifically the Big Ten. So we're not going to do a team that's already in title contention, which would be like a Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, USC. I put Washington up there as well. We're not doing any of those teams that are essentially on the cusp. So we got to narrow it down from there. We could do Michigan State. I do like Michigan State a lot personally. We also could make it a real challenge and pick a bottom team in this conference, which I believe would be Purdue. Although Rutgers doesn't look great either. We could do a Rutgers rebuild. We could do Indiana and be a Hoosier as well. Or Michigan State. Man, okay, hold on. Let me think. I think we're going to do Michigan State because I don't want to do a team that I don't really care about normally. Like Purdue, Indiana, This is the hard part actually about doing a Big Ten rebuild is because I have a connection to the conference. We're doing a different conference. I don't necessarily mind. Like SEC, I have no attachment to any of these, but I think that's going to make it kind of fun. Is that I do kind of care that Michigan State and Michigan are both good. I'm neutral because I'm a Western fan, but you know, Michigan's good. Making Michigan State good with Michigan would be really fun. So let's do Michigan State.
And now you'll choose.
And
where
we're gonna be
to
the head
start.
coach.
Here,
I'm gonna talk over this because this guy is so annoying.
It's time to
blah blah
sign
blah
your
blah blah blah
first
blah blah
coaching
blah.
contract.
I think we're gonna be a motivator because I think recruiting is fine and being a tactician is fine too. But I like the idea of developing talent. I think we're gonna have to recruit low talent and hope they develop well. So I think that's a good spot. Let's go ahead and create our guy. Just to make things easier, we're just going to be called Buffalo Prime. That's pretty good. I don't have a beard that's quite that magnificent, but that's fine. And the physique, I'm 5'10", 250. Does it do me dirty if I'm 250? I'm a pretty slim 250. That's actually physically kind of what I look like. So let's dive in. We are signing a 5-year contract, it looks like. Just win 5 games. That doesn't seem that difficult, but Michigan State has been a big L program lately. So we'll go ahead and sign the contract for a 5-year build. And then we're going to take a look at our roster immediately. I want to know what talent I have and what their like highest attributes and skill sets are. Before I go into recruiting and getting those prospects set up. So let's do that first. We're going to take a look at view roster. And we're going to go by position and figure out what we have. A key that I found to College Football 25, you can look at base stats and like overall, right? And make all your decisions based just on, hey, you know what? Aiden Chillis, 81 overall. Schuster's a 73, therefore I play Chillis, right? I don't know how to say his name. But you could go one step further and say, okay, well, let's take a look at specifically what I want this quarterback to do. Throw accuracy and throw power are good because I'm a pocket like player when it comes to my quarterback. So having field generals are good. I care a lot about the accuracy component, and although we see some accuracy down the line, really, I mean, Childs is just better than Schuster, so we could go with that. But the thing that I ultimately want to look at are these badges, because the badges are really important. So like a gold sleight of hand for Tommy, we have silver step up, a gold dot, like those are important attributes to have. And we're going to take a look at those as well as we go through each position. This is going to get cut out because I'm going to be filling out, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. I'm going to be filling out some information. Again, I'm a stats nerd, and if you want a copy of this tracker, it'll be in the description section as well. But I'm going to fill out some of this information on my team so that I can easily reference, like, hey, what was my thought process here? What does this person have? So I don't have to keep coming back to this main screen. So we're going to have some cutting in and out as I analyze what I have, and then I'm going to report back to you guys on each position that are key positions. You know, I don't think you guys care about offensive tackles, and frankly, I don't know if I do either, but I will come back to you with a scouting report on this team, and we'll make some decisions about the depth chart. Then we're going to, excuse me, sorry for sniffling. Then we're going to go into the recruiting dashboard, figure out what we need for next year and what we can target. Then we're going to look at, you know, getting everything ready sliders-wise for the first game, which will be, again, on a different video. So I will be right back. All right, I have done my analysis of every position, and I have an idea of what the depth chart's going to look like. As you know, new head coach of a program, we are inheriting the problems and the benefits of the past. So, oh yeah, let's dive in. All right, quarterback. I'm going to name Aiden Chills as our starter. He is a serviceable quarterback. So yeah, Aiden Chills, 81 overall. What I like about him is that he is a good settling in the pocket field general. So if his feet are planted, he gets the dot benefit, which is a bronze. The step up if he's moving up in the pocket, as long as he doesn't have pressure. And we're going to go through the offensive line in a second, but I am going to go ahead and have him start. Our backup quarterback will not be Tommy Schuster, but will instead be Eliseo Milivojevic. Hold on, I'm going to actually try to say this. Milivojevic. I want him to be the backup because he has a little bit better throw power than Tommy Schuster, and he's a little bit better under pressure, which I'm ultimately going to need because the offensive line's not going to be great. So, and I'm going to redshirt Rylan Jess. Just nothing really going for him. Overall, really bad badges on the quarterbacks, but I don't think we're going to be a throw-first team anyway. So we can dive right into the halfbacks to start. We are going to go ahead and place Nick Carter as our starting halfback. I like the fact that he has silver 360 and a bronze sidestep, so he makes him a little bit more elusive. He can break tackles. He has good quickness, which I like because we're going to probably be running up the gut a bunch. So you could say, you know, we probably need a power back instead of an elusive back, but we're not going to need a receiving back. I'm a little concerned about the hands on the running back team in general, especially the second string. Kyron Lynch Adams is listed as a receiving back, but his hands are no better than the freshman below him. We are going to go ahead and redshirt Maki Frazier, who has the arm bar. He's not very quick, could be a future fullback, and I do use fullbacks in my system, so that's what ultimately what we're going to do. Our fullback's in a good spot. He's the only fullback available. 61 overall kind of stinks, but he has actually pretty good power, and the regroup gold is really nice. So I might be able to get in some plays where he's really our feature pass block, even though he's not great at blocking, but having an extra body might be helpful. Wide receiver rooms are usually pretty deep. We're going to go ahead and start our best player, which is Montoure Foster Jr. The reason that I don't mind starting him is that he's a good deep threat because of the double dip bronze. And for those of you that don't know, I look up what all this stuff means to begin with. Double dipping, it slightly improves cut moves against single man coverage when running double move routes. So as long as he's in single side coverage, which is really going to be the go receiver, and the wide out receiver, I should say, he'll be able to activate that bronze. And honestly, my wide receiver group does not have a good amount of badges. I don't like layout because I don't see it very often. So the double dip is honestly the best badge that I have of all the wide receivers, and it's a bronze. So the wide receiver group is pretty bad overall. 82 is our best, and then it kind of shoots down from there. The only other one that is noticeable that I think we could look at is going to be Nick Marsh here. He's going to end up being our third string quarterback in the depth chart. 74 overall true freshman with a bronze layout badge. I'm hoping that he'll improve over the year being essentially a slot receiver. So we'll see. I'm not really happy with this wideout room. I think if we're going to look at who I think the impact player is going to be on offense is going to be Nate Carter, because it kind of has to be. And the reason that is, as we start to move our way down into the roster, we'll take a look at the offensive line in a moment, but you'll see why I think our running back is going to be our only shot at getting to 5 wins. At the tight end spot, it's a pretty clear number 1 in Jake Velling. He has gold sure hands, which is really nice. He's a solid tight end, but he doesn't block very well, which is fine. If we're not going to get a lot of protection in the pocket, we're going to need a tight end that has decent catching. 87 hands is pretty good. It's actually better than most of our wide receivers. And the sure hands actually helps with that as well. So I'm scrolling through the list of all the physical abilities. Sure hand at a gold level is a significant improved ability to avoid drops and knockouts. Excludes dives and jumping catches, but the sure hands will be really good in crucial first downs. And that mental best friend that you see there helps with the quarterback's composure if he's the one that gets the first down, the tight end. So that'll really help us out with a pretty shaky young starting quarterback. So he's a clear number 1. I do like Brennan Parachek as our backup. Has a little bit better pass blocking, which is really nice, and he's a wear down feature, which is really good too on the physical badges. We are going to redshirt Wyatt Hook, and he has no badges, nothing really to say there. We just have a deep tight end room with 5 tight ends. I'm a little disappointed that at Caden because a 47 overall tight end. We're going to look to hopefully reassess him and reposition him, because a 47 overall heading into his redshirt senior year next year, there's got to be a better role for him. That's pretty abysmal. All right, we're diving into the tackles, specifically the left tackle, terrible at run blocking. Pretty much all of them are bad at run blocking. The top 2 tackles that'll rotate in and out have good pocket and play action shielding, but not good run defense. And our freshman, who is going to be redshirted, which actually leaves our left tackle room a little slim. I'm going to hope he develops well, but left tackle is actually a bit of a problem, as are the guards. So the left side of the offensive line is going to be pretty weak. The best that we have on the guard side is going to be Christian Phillips, but as you notice, only strong grip from the true freshman who's going to get redshirted. So I'm hoping that the strong grip will develop on Rakeem Johnson, but yeah, no, it's pretty bad on the left side. But our best offensive player is our center, Tanner Miller, with a platinum outside shield, screen enforcer, and second level badges as well. He has fan favorite winning time and offensive line rally, which will help in clutch situations. What that tells me, the center is usually the one that breaks off the ball and blocks the linebacker on run plays. We are going to run up the gut slightly to the right, and I'm hoping that those plays will work out well with Tanner anchoring the middle. And Dallas Finchner, a decent outside shield, bronze underneath him. And then Lunuweski is going to be redshirted. Right guard, not terrible. Pocket shield on the right side. A little bit okay of run block, not as good as the left side, so it's a bit of a struggle. And then the right tackle spot, we have basically the same issues we have on the other side. So I'm honestly going to say we need to develop our offensive line. That's one of my biggest priorities when it comes to recruiting, and it's going to be a priority in developing as well. So we need pretty significant help in the offensive line. Our center group is fine, but everybody else is pretty weak. And we need pass blockers, because I don't think we're going to have leads to be able to run at our leisure. So we are going to need the ability for my field general quarterback room to be able to sit in the pocket. So we need an offensive line that can stop that. All right, we look at the defensive side. I'm going to be honest with you. There's nobody on the defense that jumps out like Tanner Miller does on the offense, but I don't think our defense is overall that bad. Left end, we'll go ahead and start Jalen Thompson. Actually, no, Jalen Thompson's going to get benched. We're going to start Quindarius Dunnigan, just redshirt senior. They're basically similar, similar size, similar stats, but one's a redshirt senior, so I want to give him an opportunity to lead the left side of the edge rush. And on the right side of the edge rush, we will likely be captaining and piloting Chris Boggle. He has quick jump on gold, which is really nice for jumping the snap. and getting to the backfield. He has decent speed, which I really like with my edge rushers. I typically play the edge rush on defense, or I'll play like the middle linebacker. But he'll likely be who we control on defense. And then we have a really deep right end room, so we are going to see Kakai Burnett to be redshirted, and then, you know, a few of these individuals are probably going to slot to the left side as well. Defensive tackle room is what it is. There's nothing really good here. Our best player is actually, it says Maverick Hansen. The problem I have with Maverick is that his tackling is the worst of all defensive tackles. So he has good strength, he has good power moves, which are two stats that I want to look at. But his strength is just, oh, it says 90 here. Wait, did I write that down wrong? No, his tackling, I'm sorry. His tackling is the worst in the room, which is a big concern of mine. He'll actually end up being our 4th on the depth chart. Our top defensive tackle is actually going to be Zaire Green, because he has the highest tackle of anybody else, and his strength is comparable to everybody else as well. We are going to redshirt Adam Fontana at 68 overall. Hopefully he'll get better there. The outer linebackers, predominantly what I looked at was zone coverage and play recognition and the ability to tackle. I think we're going to get run all over when we play Michigan State, because Big Ten football has a lot of very run-heavy offenses, and I have a feeling that we need the best tacklers that we can get. So you see 81 and 80 here. Middle linebacker core, Bridgman is likely going to be our starter simply because he has the highest tackling, although play recognition from Jordan Turner is also really good. The outer linebacker core, we only have Matthews, who's the clear starter there because of his tackling ability as well. And he has the outside disruptor gold badge, which is really nice. So disrupting the outside of the pocket and outside of the line is really nice. Our cornerback room here at Michigan State is absolutely crazy. Why do we have so many corners? It's not necessary. And the cornerback room is a joke. There's basically no badges on anybody, and all of their zone coverage, which again, I run heavy zone on this offense, or I'm sorry, on this defense, is outside of Ed Wood's terrible. And Gross is our best corner, and he's going to be the 5th string because I need Woods at the number 1. He's got to be the one covering the strong side of the offense. He has the best zone coverage. He's not very strong, and his tackling is okay, but he's got good speed, good acceleration, and it's that ability to be a zone cover safety versus the slot covered safety. So, I'm sorry, corner. So I run mostly zone, not man. So slot corners don't help me. Zone corners do. So first string is going to be Ed Woods. Second string is going to be Marquis Lowry with Rucker as the 3rd. And then it's going to trickle down from there with most of these freshmen getting redshirted. Free safety. I'm really upset with the safety room because if you look at the zone coverage that I'm highlighting now, whoops, I'm currently messing up. Not Mississippi State. Hello, Michigan State. If you look at the zone coverage, it's 76 is the best one we have at Dylan Tatum, who's still going to be a 2nd string because his awareness isn't as good as I'd like, and I like Malik Spencer's blow up silver. And then on the strong safety side, the zone coverage is terrible too. And again, that's predominantly what these safeties are going to run. So with the strong safety, we are going to start Amarian Smith because nobody else is really that much better. I guess Khalil Majid is a little better at awareness, but the zone coverage is just as bad. So the strong safety room and the free safety room are also pretty bad. So on defense, really the strength of our defense is going to be the edge rush on the right side. I'm going to have to get to the quarterback as Boggle the best that I can with that quick jump physical badge. And then I guess our linebackers are okay, but it's going to be tough to stop the opposing team on Heisman difficulty with this defense. Luckily for us, if our offense ever stutters, our kicker he's the guy. He's the man. Mega leg Platt, field flip Platt. He's got kick power 97. The accuracy we'll deal with, but that's about as good as you want from your kicker. And our punter is also good. Deep range, coffin corner, and chip shot with 93, 95 on power and accuracy. So we have good special teams play initiators, which is really great. So overall, not wonderful, but we knew that coming in. So our focus with this recruiting class is going to be on an offensive line, defensive secondary. We could probably stand to have a better quarterback too. Our quarterback room is a little weak, but it's all field generals, which is great. I like what Aiden Chills has with Step Up and Dot. I just wish they were a better badge. So I would love to get a better quarterback in. And then these two, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to make the cut in the future. We'll say goodbye to Schuster as our third string quarterback. And again, Chills, we'll see what he can do. I don't know if this is actually significant, but we are going to name our captains as well. I'm going to name a captain on the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball, and then I'm going to name like a general captain, just a player that I happen to like. On the defense or offensive side of the ball, the easiest call for me is going to be Tanner Miller. I just his makeup is, I think, ideal. So I am going to go ahead and make him our first captain. Our defensive captain, I guess, is going to be... we'll do Wayne Matthews with that outside disruptor badge. I think he might be one of our better impact players, along with the edge rusher that I'm going to control. But we'll go ahead and make Wayne Matthews III a captain as well. He is a redshirt senior, so I think it makes sense that he captains our team. And then the third one, somebody that I think could have a breakout year, I am going to go ahead and give it, gosh, I think I'm going to give it to our tight end, Jack Velling. I think our inability to move the ball is going to rely heavily on Jack to like fix it. And I think he's going to have the burden of our offense's momentum. So I'm going to set him as a captain as well. So we have the three captains, basically our center, our tight end, and our right outer linebacker. All right, so now I'm going to take a moment to get all the red shirts in line, to all of the first strings and second and third and depth chart figured out, which will be really important because they now have mass substitutions. So if we do happen to get into a game where we can play the second strings, it'll be important to set them properly. But I'm going to go ahead and take care of the red shirting really quick and the depth chart, and I'll get back with you in a moment. Okay, I think we are good with our depth chart, basically with what we talked about. We'll take a look a little bit preseason top 25, which I think is set by default for everybody. Anytime you create a new dynasty, this is what it looks like. Let's see if we have any preseason All-Americans in the Big Ten. We're not going to have any national guys, but let's see if our Big Ten preseason all team, do we have anybody in Michigan State? We do. Our kicker. Yeah, of course. Our kicker is pretty great. All right, so our kicker has the potential of being a second team all Big Ten, I guess. And then we take a look at our schedule really quick here. We're not going to customize anything here. Florida Atlantic as our first challenge at home should be fine. Maryland, we'll see. FCS Midwest will be nice to tune as well. And then Boston College before we get into the difficulty of the Big Ten. Ohio State, Oregon, Iowa, Michigan. I mean, it may be until Indiana or Illinois until we see our next win. So the schedule is actually not terribly stacked against us. Only 4 really strong Big Ten teams. But Illinois is, you know, maybe we could beat them. Purdue's maybe. Rutgers, not to scoff at Indiana or Rutgers either. Those are decent opponents. But I'm hoping that we can get through the chunk before Ohio State at, I'm going to say 2-2. I think that's very doable. The first 2 games might be a bit of a tweaking and tuning games, but FCS Midwest and Boston College, hopefully we can beat. So, okay, we are going to go ahead and get ready to set up our big board based on not only what we need that the computers tell us because we have seniors graduating, but on what I said we need, which is truly offensive line talent and defensive secondary. Okay, I've taken a second to really set our recruiting board for this year so far. Again, with the idea that we want to focus on the offensive line, the defensive secondary, and then fill in the gaps as we need with people leaving. Our biggest needs are obviously at the quarterback and the halfback position because of the fact that we have a lot of people that are higher in the class in terms of like graduation and things like that. We don't have a great pipeline for the quarterbacks too. You can see it on the right-hand side. Our senior is going to leave next year. We will have Childs for another 2 years at least, and hopefully he develops really well, but really drops off the table after that. And then running back, hit or miss, ultimately. We need a power back there, and I've targeted one. But again, the offensive line is a big need. We have 7 open positions there, and the defensive secondary, it's just weak in general on my team, specifically around zone coverage players. So I've set the board. I want to highlight a couple of the top prospects that I want to focus on and kind of work our way from there. And this is a good opportunity for me to really show you the big spreadsheet that I've created. And let me pop this up right here. So Desmond Bettis is my #1 priority, and let's take a look at him really quick. The reason he's my #1 priority is the badges are really good. So I like the play action shield, the pocket shield, team player, and offensive rally. Those are really nice. I don't mind the broken gem as a 4-star. That means he probably tops out at maybe the middle 80s, hopefully. But, you know, it's really those badges that I like a lot. I like the 78 pass block. I like the 87 run block power. That's actually better than some of the people I currently have. And I don't have great sides of the offensive line. And the fact that we're already kind of in his top 5 and we're going up against other Big Ten schools, you know, hopefully we can secure him. But he would be my number 1 priority. My number 2 priority is going to be Bruce Addison. I just realized how I said that. He's an edge rusher. He actually might be an edge rusher that I take control of. He is a run stopper, though, which isn't great. I like power rushers a little bit more, but that natural and road dog gold badges are really nice. The 83 acceleration is also really good. And again, we are in his top 5. Going up against Purdue and Iowa isn't terrible, but Ohio State and Michigan being on that list is a little harder to deal with. And then Robert Ruffin, another offensive lineman, has silver road dog, so it's not wonderful, but he is a 4-star green gem, which I like a lot. He's got good impact blocking and lead blocking and very high strength. 6'2", 312 is pretty strong as well. And we are in the schmicks with him. So he is another top prospect. Prospects that you actually might get excited for in skill positions, though. I do have a quarterback identified that would be really nice to pick up in Maurice Epikete. I didn't fully scout him because it takes a lot to scout a quarterback, but I like the bronze field general there, mobile deadeye and pull down. He's an improvising quarterback. We're already in his top 8. A couple of tough schools there. And I did identify a wide receiver that's not only a 3-star, but also is interested in our program. I didn't scout him out, though. 3-star, I said 5-star. He is a deep threat out of Michigan, though, which is really nice. 6 foot, 183. We don't have many of those. There is also, and I just backed out accidentally, there's also a halfback that I've placed in here that's a power rusher, Greg. Where is he? Oh my gosh, I literally passed him, didn't I? Yep, there he is. Greg Moffitt. He's Moffitt. Get it? Sorry, bad joke. He's already sporting head first, and he's got good acceleration already, even though he's a power back, which is what we ultimately need to be able to run through the tackles. So I do like him. One of the biggest struggles that I'm going to have, though, and we'll take a look at the prospect list. Again, I talked about the secondary and the fact that we need safeties and linebackers that can cover the zone, except for the fact that if you look here on the recommended list, no safety is interested in us. If we go to any state, there's 1 2-star out of Florida that has us 10th. So no safeties into us. We do have some free safeties into us, but not many. It's kind of the runt of the litter. And corners, we don't actually need a whole lot of corners, although it would be nice to pick some up. I do see a 4-star right here. I'm going to go ahead and target him, but I don't know anything about him yet. In fact, I'm going to add him to my list really quick. But yeah, so that's our list for now. Some of the highlights. We'll go through the list in more detail, and we will, take a look at how things shape up throughout the rest of the season and into the key pivotal recruiting weeks. So obviously we'll see how the top ones pan out. But next we're going to do the very important thing, and it's going to be getting our settings and our sliders correct. And this will be kind of the last thing that we do before we really dive into the week 0 of the season, which I don't believe we have a game, but some players and some teams do. So let's take a look at the league settings and what we're going to be working with. Again, we are on Heisman. We are going to allow us to be fired. Injuries are on. Quarter lengths are 12-minute quarters with a minimum 13 on the run clock, which will run down to. We have full control on everything. Nothing is automated. But let's take a look here really quick. EXP sliders, I actually don't think this Reddit post is going to have EXP sliders on it. I do have a separate post that I've referenced in the past. The EXP sliders that I'm going with, I'll post those as well. But a lot of it is just trying to develop our players. So quarterbacks don't develop nearly as well as some other positions. Halfbacks need a little bit of a boost too. Tight ends, third worst experience gainers in the entirety of the game. This menu is like really touchy. Wide receivers get a little bit too much. Fullbacks, if you actually dedicate time to a fullback. Tackles get way too much. Guards get way too much. centers. And again, I'm going off of some sliders here that I will post in the description section below if you want to see the reasoning behind some of these changes. But there are users that have come through and have really dedicated time to dissecting multiple seasons and saying, hey, you know what? We're not seeing the development in these certain positions, or we're seeing a little bit too much development in certain positions, and the players kind of get left behind. So one of the things that you have to understand about college football, if you've never played it, or maybe you're watching because you love this game and you want to ingest some content casually, there is skill disparity. You see these free safety and strong safety boosts. There is pretty massive skill disparity between wideouts and the secondary. Basically, if a semi-skilled wideout can beat elite secondaries, basically just because of the way the game plays. So I actually like the fact that we're doing some of those sliders. Okay, so here are the sliders. I'm going to start setting them now and going through what this Reddit post that I'm looking at, how it really defines these Heisman sliders and why they do the way that they do. Okay, so user QB accuracy. The sliders actually only dictate if you're using the placement or placement and accuracy settings. I use revamped passing, and I've been used to that. I don't want to switch that up too much. Maybe in future seasons I will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway here with some of the accuracy. We'll try 30 and see if we still make errors and things like that. I know it's possible at 50. I've tried that for sure, but I've never tried it on Heisman. So we'll try 30 QB accuracy versus the 15 that they recommend. So they talk about QB accuracy at the Heisman level for the computer being a little too good. So at 15, they said higher level quarterbacks still hit really good passes, but low level quarterbacks will start to make mistakes better. So we'll go with that. Pass blocking in general, getting slid down, which actually scares me. I think pass blocking is pretty terrible to begin with, so the fact that we're making it even worse is pretty scary. But the computers also get a little bit worse as well. So elite, defensive linemen are going to be able to break through. The note that this Reddit post has is that double teams are a little bit more noticeable on these settings. Catching at 20 and 20. On default, every pass being caught isn't realistic. So we're lowering it down for both the user and the computer. So 50-50 balls get knocked out. Catching traffic matters a lot more. Overthrowing some throws will pop out of receivers' hands. Wide open receivers will just drop. Those are things that really do happen at the college level. So it'll be important. And the thing that I like a lot about, these sliders, that it's going to be important to recruit and develop. We're not going to be able to take a team that has average players and anticipate like, hey, they're going to make everything perfect every week, and it's going to be on me as the play caller. Really, it's going to be, I could call a good game, and we're going to see some struggles anyway because we're playing a poor program. Run blocking on for us isn't very good. For them, it is good, which is really interesting. So they basically said at 38 for the user, I found a good spot. Any lower and I saw too many tackle for losses and 0-yard plays. At 40, too many bigger chunk plays. For CPU, 52 is playing balanced. At 50, I saw too many tackles for loss. 55, too many big run plays. This slider works with the tackling slider that we're going to go through later. Pass defense reaction time is going to go up, which I like a lot because I noticed some really jarring things in college football where somebody's running or trying to pass and the secondary doesn't react at all. So basically, again, determines how quickly DBs react after the ball's thrown, which I like a lot. INT actually goes up for the user and significantly down for the computer, which I know if you've ever touched College Football 25, you know that interceptions are kind of crazy for the computers. So bringing that in line, they said with CPUs intercepting a little bit less. The ball hawking, basically, if the computer makes a bad read, the pass will get picked. And then same thing on the other end. So really helping out the user, really balancing that out. Pass coverage, 25 and 25 apiece. So really killing this for both sides. At 0, DB stuck to receivers like glue. At 100, there were defensive lapses everywhere. 50 was way too many open throws. At 25, I see solid coverage that feels realistic, forcing me to really read and find the open receiver. Tackling up for the user, down. Oh, sorry, that's the CPU I just did. Up for the user, down for the CPU. At 60 for the user, the CPU is really good at making cuts and wiggling free. At 50, I saw too many broken tackles, making user defense sometimes impossible. The slider also affects how the AI plays run defense. The CPU will break big runs, especially if you call the wrong defense. And if you can see the CPU still put up 150 plus yards on the ground, you're not being careful. For CPU, 40 allows for some missed tackles and broken tackles, but not too many. For kicking sliders, there's only one slider for both user and CPU. And that's all of this. And I couldn't control CPU without hurting the user too. I felt CPU kicking was too good. Too many long field goals, dead center. From kickers that really shouldn't be able to make kicks like that. Punchers were too good. Saw a lot of kicks at the 10. So basically, kicking is a lot more difficult, but it isn't too difficult. It just requires more focus than before. Field goal power getting shot down to 28. Field goal accuracy at 37. I actually agree with the power getting gutted. College kickers don't make 60-yard bombs. You know, that's really an NFL trait. So unless you're a top-level kicker at one of the big schools, you know, that doesn't make sense to me. A little bit more on the punt power, but punt accuracy is going down, which I like a lot too. Kickoff power, we're just going to leave the same. There's nothing really to do there. Injuries have been dropped a little bit. Now, this isn't going into, you know, what they saw. So fatigue, I agree with some of these settings. We'll adjust them as we see fit. I know a lot of players don't like the fatigue that College Football 25 introduced, but I mean, college players get tired, bro. It makes a lot of sense to me. We're going to do some custom penalty sliders here. I'm going to reference back to the one where I did the EXP sliders to make sure that we can get these correct. False start and offsides are barely ever called. So I actually agree with moving these up. I'm going to set a custom slider here where I'm going to put both at 80 because, again, it makes sense. And then face masking is also really common in the college game, so we're going to move that up to 75. And then defensive pass interference, we're also going to move up. These are penalties I never see. There's like not a lot of penalties in this game in general. Offensive pass interference is going to be on. I'm going to turn off kick catch interference. I know they patched that in a recent patch, but I don't really care because, yeah, it's terrible. And then intentional grounding I'm going to turn off as well because the computers never get it called. I don't know if they break out perfectly, but it's called frequently on the user, and I've never actually seen it against the computer, so that doesn't seem to make sense to me. Roughing the passer, roughing the kicker, running into the kicker, all of those I'm going to turn off, and then illegal contact we're going to turn on as well. So those are the settings that we're going to run with. We'll make some adjustments as we feel necessary if we're getting mollywopped in ways that we shouldn't. You can take a look really quick at my user settings. Again, we're going to do revamped passing. We're not going to have any slowdown or lead increases. Reticle visibility we don't actually ultimately need. We have some gameplay helpers here. Defensive ball hawk is going to continue to be on along with heat seeker. That just helps with the awkwardness of open field tackling. I don't mind getting burned if they use like a juke move, but a lot of times what I saw is that the computers will slightly veer to the left and I can't pivot my guy well enough on the pursuit to match a slight pivot, and it looks really awkward. So I like the ball hawking and things like that. We don't really need any of this. I don't really feel like I need to go through any of this, but those are the settings that I'm going to go with on this Heisman run. And again, we are playing as Michigan State, a broken program that's very bottom of the barrel Big Ten now after having such high highs not too terribly long ago. So I'm interested and excited to see if we can bring Michigan State back into power. Really quick before we dive into week 0, I'll probably do this again in my next video. Just some quick win-losses. Considering that I haven't played much on Heisman, I'm mostly an All-American player, but we are going to give it a shot. I think we're going to lose Florida Atlantic simply because I got to get used to the game, and I think we're going to lose Maryland on the road as well. We're going to win against FCS Midwest and Boston College to start the season 2-2. Easy losses at Ohio State and Oregon to go 2-4. I think we lose at Iowa or home against Iowa and Michigan as well to go 2-6. Indiana, let's take the home win there to make it 3-6. Illinois, we lose 2, 3-7. We beat Purdue 4-7, 4-8 to end the season is my anticipated line. If I'm being realistic, if I adjust really well, I could see us only losing 3 games with Iowa maybe being close, but I don't think I'm going to adjust very well. I think we're going to hit the 4-win threshold here to keep our contract alive. At least I hope so. So anyway, leave a comment in the comment section below what you thought, but feel free to reference back to this video if you're ever confused about what the sliders are. I don't think I'll change it this year. We'll look at changing it year over year, so that way I always have a sliders video where we make adjustments from there, and I'll take notes. But thank you so much for watching. We'll enjoy week 0/week 1 coming up soon, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!